There are rare moments in scientific history when silence itself becomes a measurable force, and the case of 3I Atlas begins inside this dense engineered quiet. The first detection did not come from NASA, ESA, or any official observatory. It came from independent sky watchers, people using backyard telescopes, rooftop rigs, and high-sensitivity sky cameras. Their footage captured a luminous object drifting into view from a trajectory matching no recognized orbital path. Its brightness curve was unstable, the thermal signature irregular, and its motion displayed subtle adjustments that felt less like drift and more like micro-corrections. But the real anomaly was not in the sky, it was on Earth. Within hours, NASA's automated databases, normally updated every few minutes, showed blank intervals. The Zwicky transient facility displayed a missing block exactly at the timestamp of the detection. The Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics noted absent orbital logs, while ESA's star catalog uploads appeared delayed. These interruptions were precise, targeted, and synchronized. Then came silence from the one person who never stays silent, Elon Musk. With the world's largest private satellite constellation, Musk has real-time orbital awareness that surpasses most governments. He comments on meteor trails, debris clouds, and even telescope misidentifications. But when asked about strange activity during the 3I Atlas window, he offered nothing, no joke, no dismissal, no correction. For astrophysicists, that omission was louder than any confirmation. Scientists took notice. Dr. Avi Loeb remarked privately that data gaps often mean someone curated the gaps. Dr. Jonathan McDowell, known for cataloging thousands of objects, confirmed the disclosure pattern was abnormal. Dr. Michelle Thaler, usually vocal in NASA outreach, avoided the topic entirely. Then the global media blackout became undeniable. BBC, CNN, Reuters, AP, none published a single line, despite independent astronomers openly discussing the anomaly online. This has never happened with an object of comparable magnitude. As more evidence vanished from public archives, when truth became unavoidable, 3I Atlas was not being overlooked. It was being actively removed, and the thicker the silence became, the clearer it was that something much larger was unfolding just beyond public view. When early fragments of the 3I Atlas incident began circulating through encrypted scientific channels, curiosity rapidly shifted toward concern. Multiple observatories reported anomalies, brightness spikes inconsistent with comets, thermal fluctuations outside natural parameters, and vector shifts that resembled microacceleration. Some analysts compared it to Oumuamua, yet even that benchmark felt insufficient. 3I Atlas behaved less like an object passing through space and more like something reacting to it. NASA's anticipated response never arrived. Instead, 3 consecutive daily bulletins were abruptly suspended. The first triple suspension since the obscure Solomon event, when 3 observatories across the globe recorded synchronized failure. NASA's silence contradicted every transparency protocol it claims to uphold. And then came the great disappearance. Major media outlets, Nature News, National Geographic, Scientific American, Space.com published nothing. Even independent journalists known for covering minor celestial anomalies remained silent. Statistically, this level of coordinated absence is impossible without external influence. Then China broke formation. The Purple Mountain Observatory released the world's only uncensored image of 3I Atlas, an asymmetrical luminous structure with unstable heat signatures and a trajectory defying orbital mechanics. They gave no analysis, no narrative, only raw data. The move placed pressure on NASA, yet NASA doubled its silence. Private analysis at Caltech, Max Planck, and ESO revealed a disturbing pattern. The thermal instability suggested electromagnetic interaction, something seen only during rare events like the 2019 JWC Ultra Energy particle anomaly. That comparison alone made researchers uneasy. Meanwhile, the ground-based evidence was equally alarming. JPL logs missing at precise intervals. ESA uploads delayed without explanation. were independent astronomers, images flagged for manual review, a process almost never used for simple sky captures. Then came the leak. Starlink had triggered a high-alert anomaly protocol during the 3I Atlas window, something reserved exclusively for non-ballistic objects. Musk still said nothing. Within private research circles, two questions became unavoidable. If 3I Atlas was harmless, why erase the data? And if it was dangerous, why hide the danger? As the Chinese image of 3I Atlas circulated, quietly among high-level researchers, the global mood shifted once again, this time toward deeper, more coordinated concern. Analysts at the European Southern Observatory compared its luminosity, fingerprint against thousands of archived transients, none matched. At Caltech, orbital dynamics, experts confirmed microaccelerations, incompatible with classical gravitational modeling. At the Max Planck Institute, spectroscopists observed thermal oscillations that appeared deliberate, not random. Meanwhile, the world's population remained entirely unaware. No BBC coverage, no CNN alerts, no Reuters bulletins, not a single public headline. To scientists familiar with astronomical reporting, this blackout was unprecedented. Even minor grazing asteroids received global attention. But 3I Atlas, a genuinely anomalous object, generated absolute silence. Soon, a new pattern emerged, synchronized timestamp drift. Across Assas, Lassia, and Mauna Kea, timing systems normally locked to atomic clocks drifted by milliseconds only during the 3I Atlas window. Such synchronized drift requires one of two things: catastrophic equipment failure or external electromagnetic influence. No failures were recorded. Dr. Brian Cox privately stated that such drift requires an active external agent. Dr. Sarah Seeger noted that the light curve displayed a behavior inconsistent with passive reflection. Dr. John Mather, Nobel laureate, reviewed preliminary models and remarked they break established dissipation frameworks. At JPL, the official line became data under review, yet erased frames and vanished logs suggested something far more deliberate. Independent astronomers trying to upload their own captures found their data delayed, flagged, or deleted entirely. One researcher in Spain lost a full capture session with no error code and no explanation. Then came another leak. Starlink's internal telemetry had activated an unspecified anomaly mode during the exact detection window, something reserved for objects with high impact or non-ballistic motion. And Musk still remained silent. As researchers probed deeper into historical sky logs, a pattern emerged hinting that 3I Atlas might not be the first of its kind, only the first impossible to suppress. Archived data from 2009, 2013 and 2018 contained faint luminous pulses dismissed at the time as sensor noise. But when spectral fingerprints were reanalyzed using modern filters, those pulses displayed the same thermal irregularities. Known from 3I Atlas, the implications were unsettling. This phenomenon had likely appeared before, each time quietly filtered out. At the European Space Agency, physicists reviewing Gaia spacecraft telemetry noticed subtle distortions in past sky map cycles. Though tiny, the distortions' timing aligned perfectly with older anomalies. Dr. Timo Prusti, Gaia's project scientist, allegedly commented that coincidences cease to be coincidences once they form a pattern. Digital forensics experts combing through declassified military archives found entire sections redacted precisely where unexplained optical signatures were described. Documents from the U.S. Defense Support program showed heavy censorship in periods matching earlier luminous events. The pattern was clear. The redactions weren't about hiding threats, but about hiding consistency. Meanwhile, observatories began reporting temporal drift, microsecond-level timestamp, desyncs across systems dependent on atomic clock precision. Such drift requires either catastrophic hardware failure or external interference. With no hardware issues reported, the focus shifted to the phenomenon itself. If 3I Atlas or similar past objects caused time drift, then it wasn't simply present in space. It was interacting with sensors in a measurable way. This triggered private analyses from top theorists. Dr. Kip Thorne reviewed early timing deviations and noted they suggest localized perturbation rather than noise. Dr. Brian Metzger stated that the thermal flicker resembled an energy release mode outside classical comet behavior. And the media, still silent. Not a single investigation from NYT, The Guardian, Le Monde, or any outlet that normally seizes sensational astronomical stories. The blackout was total. Simultaneously, China, after its initial image release, went silent as well. Analysts suspected diplomatic intervention. No nation wants to expose another's suppressed intelligence too openly. That suspicion grew when ESA and JAXA quietly archived references to optical anomalies. By now, the scientific narrative had shifted. 3i Atlas was no longer a one-time anomaly. It appeared to be part of a lineage. Each appearance met with rapid, sweeping suppression. And with every recurring hint, private researchers became more convinced that they were not witnessing a single event, but a pattern deliberately concealed across agencies and decades. As evidence accumulated, attention shifted away from the anomaly itself and toward the systems reacting to it. Satellite engineers revealed that 3 U.S. military constellations, SBRs, infrared space fence, and GEO surveillance networks made synchronized attitude adjustments during the 3i Atlas window. These protocols activate only when objects pose potential interference or require strategic classification. If true, the object's presence had crossed a high security threshold. Independent analysts reprocessed footage and discovered oscillations in luminosity that could not be explained by rotation, atmospheric distortion, or natural reflection. The brightness variation resembled a response pattern, something adjusting output rather than emitting passively. No known natural body behaves this way. At MIT, Dr. Sarah Seeger examined filtered spectral data and noted repeating energy spikes. At Harvard, Dr. Avi Loeb suggested the phenomenon shared features with the unexplained, acceleration of Oumuamua, yet sharper and more dynamic. At JPL, infrared channels displayed thermal rebound, more consistent with engineered heat dissipation than natural cooling. NASA remained absolutely still. Space-focused outlets, Space.com, Universe Today, Live Science avoided the story entirely. Even specialized astronomers on social media noticed that posts about unusual sky events struggled to gain visibility as if trending algorithms were being throttled. One of the most alarming leaks came from a Starlink internal tool. The anomaly detection dashboard had reportedly entered a rare high-priority state. This mode triggers only when the network detects dynamic, non-ballistic objects. Still, Musk said nothing. Researchers privately debated the strategic implications of acknowledging 3i Atlas open admission could force governments to address gaps in orbital defense, raise geopolitical tensions, or expose decades of concealed anomalies. The risk wasn't only scientific, it was political, military, and psychological. International silence deepened. China released no further updates. ESA refrained from comment. Even Roscosmos, typically eager to criticize Western agencies, avoided the subject entirely. Within private circles, a quiet consensus emerged. 3i Atlas exists. Its nature is unknown, and the response is strategically controlled. Suppression does not prove danger, but it proves significance. And significance is often what institutions fear most.